Hello and welcome to this episode of Simply Saturday. My name is Julie. This is Stamp with Julie Baum, and I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. I am bringing a card today that I'm excited to show you. I have a secret, and I'm going to tell you what that secret is. This year, for the first time ever, I did not purchase any new fall product. Now, I'm not super happy about that because there are some beautiful fall products that are available. But as I was looking at my October and November and my stamping schedule and my classes, I knew that I wouldn't be doing a whole lot of fall stamping. And I still had some beautiful products from last year that also are still available, and also some retired things. So that's kind of my own little secret, is that I did not really buy anything new. So I'm not bringing you a project today that is featuring something that's all bright and shiny and new. I'm actually showing you some stuff from retired products. So let's make our card, and let me tell you a second secret. The second secret is that we're actually going to do 2 cards in this episode. So make sure that you stay tuned all the way to the end. All right, I am beginning with a piece of crushed curry cardstock. This is 4 inches. Nope, this is 4¼ inches by 11 inches. And it is scored and folded in the middle, which is 5½ inches. All right, this is going to be our card base. Then I have a piece of white cardstock that measures 4 inches by 5¼ inches. This is going to be an inside panel. Okay. Then here are the fun pieces. So I've got a piece of designer series paper, and this was from a packet of 48 12 by 12 sheets called Celebrate Everything. There was quite a broad pattern offering in this packet of paper, and it had really everything from stripes and rainbow and birthday and Halloween and fall and Christmas, all kinds of things. So if you happened to get that Celebrate Everything pack of designer series paper, you may still have lots of these pieces left because it was such a large pack of paper. So I went through and I pulled out this paper with all these leaves on it. That was my inspiration for the card. So this piece and all of the pieces that I'm showing you are 6 inches long, and this will make sense as we go along. So this piece is 1¾ inches by 6 inches. Then what I did is I really liked the back side of that paper, so I used the same paper, but we're going to use the flip side. And these pieces also are 6 inches long, and these are 3/4 inch wide. And then I have Poppy Parade. The reason I picked Poppy Parade is that is the red that is represented in this paper. So had this been real red or cherry cobbler, then I would have chosen that. So that's one of those things about the Stampin' Up! Products and papers and coordinating items that I just love. So anyway, that is Poppy Parade, so we're using Poppy Parade. These are 1/2 inch by 6 inches. All right, and then off camera ahead of time, I went ahead and did my die cutting. So I used these rounded rectangles from Nested Essentials, and we've got a white and a crushed curry. All right, so let's put our card together. We're gonna do a little bit of stamping as well before we move on to card number 2. All right, so to begin building the card, you will probably want your silicone sheet because we are going to do some gluing that might ooze out a little bit, and we don't want to get glue onto our stamping surface or maybe onto other things. So I've got my silicone mat here, or silicone sheet. Here is the front of the card, and the first thing that I'm going to do is glue the Poppy Parade strip onto this edge of the card. Now, I said that each of my pieces here are 6 inches long, and what that does, let me get the little hard part off of there. Do you ever have that happen? If your glue has sat out for a few minutes, it kind of gets a little crust on there. All right, what we're gonna do with these 6 inch long pieces is go ahead and let them hang off the edge of the card, and then we're gonna go back and trim them. I think it's the easiest way to do it instead of having strips of paper that are exactly the right length, and you have to make sure that it goes end to end and that you got all of your measuring precise. So this is the method that I'm going to show you. Now, I am often shocked at how you can measure and cut something, 2, 3, 4 pieces, all the same length, and yet when you go to put something together, 1 or 2 of them is slightly off. It just is one of those mysteries of lining something up in your paper trimmer or your paper cutter and cutting it, and then it's just a hair off from the other ones. So we don't have to worry about that today. We're going to use these extra long pieces and then trim them to the perfect length. All right, so I put the first one on that side. I'm going to put the second one over here. And as you saw, I'm leaving a small little bit of an edge of that crushed curry that is showing on the outside edge of the card. So let me get this pressed on there. This is where the silicone sheet is handy, because if I had any glue on the back of that, it's going onto the silicone sheet. All right, so there we have the first 2. You can see I've got a little bit of crushed curry showing on the outside edge. All right, let's move on to the next piece. This is going to be the Granny Apple Green patterned piece. It's the back side of the leaves. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to push it right up against that Poppy Parade strip so that there's no crushed curry showing in between these 2. I want it nice and flat, so I don't want it overlapping. Just push right up against it. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. So I know that you can already begin to imagine that you can do this with any number of papers. Just trade them out, find 2 that look good together, and then a solid to go with it. All right, here's our second piece, right up against the Poppy Parade strip. All right, now when I put the third and final strip on, my leaf paper, it is going to very, very slightly overlap these green ones. The reason I did that is I was a little bit worried that if it was exactly this length, that there might be a little bit of crushed curry that might peek through like that. And I did not want that to occur. So I made this just wide enough that it's going to barely overlap the green. I'm talking like probably a 1/16 of an inch. Not even quite an 1/8 of an inch. It's less than that. All right, so here we go. Let's put our glue onto this piece. And I'm going to keep it in this direction because I can look right here. Let me scoot this up a little. I can look right here and watch how much I'm overlapping the green pieces. And I want them overlapping the same amount, just a hair of each one, and lay that down. Now, what might also help is the fact that you've got a print here that you can kind of see, like in this case, it's lining up right against the edges of those little crisscrosses. So that was kind of handy too. All right, pressing that into place. Now we've got all of our papers in place. All right, I'm going to use just some regular size scissors for this instead of my paper snips. You can use your paper snips, of course, if you want. But because I'm doing a large cut, I just want to grab regular scissors. Also, I'll probably get some glue on the scissors while I'm at it. And I don't want glue on my paper snips in case I need them later in the project today. So I'm going to just use regular scissors, open the card front, and trim right along the edge of the crushed curry piece. And so I'm snipping all of those edges right off. That gives me a nice, perfect straight edge there with my papers. All right, let's get rid of those little tidbits. Oh, that one's got some glue on it. Could have kept my silicone mat in place, huh? All right, and then to trim this off, I need to go ahead and close the card so I can see what I'm doing. And same method, I'm gonna trim right along the edge. Be careful that you don't trim the edge of your crushed curry cardstock. since that's the fold of your card, you could actually end up cutting into it and then your card is going to fall apart. So you want to cut right on the edge, but don't cut any of the crushed curry paper on accident. Okay, so we've got our top and bottom edges trimmed now, and let's do our stamping. So I'm going to take that white piece. Now, I am using a word stamp. Let's see here. What did I pull this from? So Sincere. Okay, So Sincere is the stamp set that I chose, and I'm using the So Thankful For You stamp. So I've got it ready to go, and my Memento Tuxedo Black ink. I have a piece of scratch paper here. I am going to do a quick practice stamp. What I find is some of these stamps that have like the script type font, sometimes the tails end up stamping really dark compared to the letters in the words. So that's what I'm trying to be careful of. I'm just going to give this a practice and see what it looks like. Okay, that looks pretty even all around. This one, not so much. See how that's lighter, and then this is a lot darker. So I'm going to walk my stamp around different areas of the ink pad, trying to get it inked up equally all over. And we'll go ahead and stamp our tag. And I am doing it a little bit towards the bottom, not right in the center. There we go. And that is going to leave us some room to add some leaves. Now, as I said, I didn't rush into buying anything new this year, so I went through my supply of stamps and I found a leaf that was the size and the style that I wanted. And it actually is from a retired stamp set called Petal Park. So I'm using this leaf right there, but you can just browse through what you have and find a suitable leaf. All right, I think my leaf has ink on it, so I'm going to give it a quick clean on my chamois. Okay, starting with crushed curry. I'm going to put a couple leaves on my little tag here. So we'll do one kind of this way, and a second one coming in at the other angle down from the corner. All right, there's those two. Then next, keeping with the colors in my leaf paper, I have Poppy Parade. And this leaf is going to go right next to my crushed curry one. Like so. And then let's move to Shaded Spruce and add our final leaf. And I'll bring this one down at an angle like so. All right, there's our leaves. Looks so cute. While we've got those stamp pads out, let's go ahead and stamp the inside of the card. So in this case, I think I will add one of each color. I'm already on the green, so we'll start with green. That was Shaded Spruce. And then I will clean that and go to Poppy Parade. I kind of want this one hanging off the bottom, so I'm going to stick my scratch paper under it, have it way down here, like that. And then one more, let's put a crushed curry on there. Don't you love that little leaf? All right, here is our final one, and I don't want it to look like too specific. That looks like I tried to do it in a certain way, so I'm going to make this one just a little bit up here like that. So it looks a little bit more random. Okay, there we have our stamping done. Let's put the inside of the card in place. And then we'll take that little stamped tag that we did and finish the front. Okay, this is super cute. I love the colors. All right, I'm gonna take the white stamped piece, put a little bit of the liquid glue on it, just to get it attached to my crushed curry piece. And then let's use some dimensionals on the back of this one. It's a pretty big rectangle, so I'm going to use 5. I'm going to go ahead and use 1 on each corner and then 1 in the middle so it doesn't sag. This one, the backing already came off, so it's sticky on both sides. All right, let's remove the backings off of the rest, those other 4. Okay, and then you can position this on your card pretty much anywhere you want it. You could certainly go in the middle. You could go up here, which I think looks nice. I chose to put it in the bottom third and over just enough that I'm kind of on this red area, the Poppy Parade. And there you have it. Now, for today's Fast and Easy card, we are stopping there, but I am going to bring in one that I did exactly like this, but I decorated just a little bit more. So for those of you who want to take it to the next level, let me show you what I did. So I did the card up to this point. Then I took some dies, and these dies are from Autumn Leaves. So I chose these 3 dies and I used the colors from the paper. So I've got a Granny Apple Green, a Crushed Curry, and a Poppy Parade leaf. So I cut those out and I'll show you what I did. I added those to the card like this, just tucking the leaves in behind the tag, adding that little Poppy Parade one there, and then finishing with it a linen thread bow. So this one I think is absolutely outstanding. This of course is fast and easy if you don't want to take the time to do the extra die cutting. So there you have the fall version of today's card, but hold on because now let's use the same layout and make a Christmas card. So once again, oddly enough, I'm starting with Crushed Curry. So the Christmas paper that I chose from that same packet of paper, Celebrate Everything, it has the crushed curry in it, so it made for a natural choice to start with it again. This time we're going to be adding our 2 strips of solid paper, and these are Granny Apple Green. So let's put those on. Same process. I've got my liquid glue. My piece is a 1/2 inch by 6 inches, and I am going to leave a little edge of crushed curry showing. That one didn't quite look straight. Let me pull it a little bit. There we go. That looks better. All right, so we'll do our Granny Apple Green. Same thing, let's glue it on, leave a little edge of crushed curry showing. All right, next is this paper. All right, this is the patterned piece that we're going to use here, and the flip side of it is the ornaments, and we will be using that piece as well. So let's glue these on. I'm going to do the same step that I used before, laying it onto the card and pressing it right up against that green strip. In this case, green strip. Last time it was Poppy Parade. I think that those look upside down. I never really thought about these bows having a right side up or not, but now I think they do. As soon as I laid it down, it looked like it was upside down. Let's add some fresh glue and stick it back down. Oh, I'm so happy that I used my liquid glue and was able to do that, because if I had used my Stampin' Seal, it would be on there for good. Okay, there we've got that one. And where's the second one? Right here. Make sure my bows aren't upside down. Okay, here we go. Okay, right up against the green strip. No yellow is showing between the two. And then for the final piece, I will let it overlap these red strips just ever so slightly. Yep, just a little bit on each. And we've got that into place. All right, there's our gluing. As you might be aware already, this little glue that ended up on my silicone sheet is going to dry here momentarily, and then it will just rub up and ball. It'll rub off and ball up, maybe the other way. It'll ball up and rub off. Okay, back to full-size scissors to do my trimming. Being careful with that top of the card that you don't trim into your fold. So I want to go right along the edge of the card base without cutting the card base. Okay, there's our little pieces. And then I think it's easiest to open it for this part. And again, right up along the crushed curry edge. All right, let me get all these little gluey bits moved so they don't end up sticking to something that I don't want them to. Right now they're sticking to my fingers. Okay, and then how are we going to finish and decorate this one? All right, I have my white piece for the inside. So let's do a little something with that. I'm going to bring shaded spruce back in, and I have this time the coordinating stamp that went with that designer series paper print was called Decorated with Happiness. It is a stamp set with coordinating dies. It has since retired, and actually this one is currently in my Etsy shop, and it's greatly discounted, and it is for sale. So if you're interested in the Decorated with Happiness stamp set and coordinating dies, you can check out my Etsy shop, and I'll put a link for that below this video. But that's what I pulled. I actually still had it, and I pulled the little greenery stamp from it. Again, because it coordinated with the paper, so it was kind of a natural pick. I love that little bow. And then I also pulled these little sparkles or stars or snowflakes, whatever you want to call them. There's a stamp with those. And so I thought that that would be cute, just added. Where's that scratch paper? And that might be enough. I feel like it needs a little something over here. There we go. All right, there's the corner. That's the inside of our piece, of our card. So we could put that in place. And then all we need to do is decorate the front. So as I did on, let's see, on the first card, I used the Nested Essentials dies and I cut out a crushed curry large rounded rectangle and the smaller white one. This time I cut out a Poppy Parade large one and then the smaller white. And in this case, I wanted to pick something that was Christmassy, and so I reached for another retired stamp set. This was super, super popular last year, very cute. And it came with a coordinating punch, and I have kept this one in my collection because I still reach for this stamp set and punch a lot. So I've got Warm Wishes and Shaded Spruce ink. And this time I'm going to stamp it right in the middle because I'm not adding any other stamping onto the white piece. I love how that looks. I love the chunky script writing. It looks great. Okay, and this gets glued onto our Poppy Parade piece. And since I didn't do any other stamping on the white tag part, I did die cut some goodies. Remember on this card how I added the leaves that were die cut? So for this one, I die cut some greenery. There was a big one. This actually I trimmed down. It has 3 little branches and I trimmed it down to the 2, and then there's a separate one that just has 1. So we're going to add those after we put this on with our dimensionals. All right, same thing. I probably need 5 to hold this without it sagging in the middle. All right, and then I'll show you how we glue and tuck those in behind our tag. Let me take those backing papers off of the tag. I'm just off screen because I'm putting the little pieces into the trash as I pull them off. And I think we'll put this in the same location. So we're just going to go right down here, kind of the bottom third of the card. I like the red edge on top of the green piece. And we've got that into place. All right, so with this, I'm going to take a little bit of my liquid glue. I only need glue enough to hold it down. And because this has a lot of skinny areas, what I'm going to do is just put some dots of glue on the largest areas to keep it easy. I'm not going to worry about some of those smaller areas. See, I'm just aiming for the large spots. Okay, and then this is going to tuck right down in here, like so. I think that looks fun and festive. And then our little guy, same thing. I'm just going to put a couple dabs of glue on the widest parts of my die cut and not worry about the small little edges, and tuck this one down here. Like so. I think this one's optional. You wouldn't even have to do that one. Just that one looks really good. All right. And then I want to add a couple of embellishments. So I found these pastel adhesive backed sequins. I did not look them up to see if these are still available. So it could be that these are gone. But you never know, because sometimes even if it has since retired, sometimes it shows up in the clearance rack. And I really like that there's blue in this paper. And since I didn't use any blue at all, I'm going to choose a couple of the blue sequins. The pink ones are cute too, but I'm going to stick with blue. That was my first instinct. And so let's just do a couple of these, and it gives us some shine and a little bit of dimension, and it pulls in that blue color. And there we have it. All right, there's our Christmas version of this layout with the papers, the strips, a little bit of stamping on the inside. And here's our original card done for fall. and then also the one with the stepped up embellishments with the die cuts. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I know that you're going to use this layout and create some beautiful cards of your own. I would love to hear about it, and I do love hearing from you. So be sure and subscribe. And if you are a subscriber, or even if you're not, I would love a comment. Leave me a comment. Let me know how this hit you and what you plan to do with this inspiration. I'll be back next Saturday with another project for you. And until then, happy stamping.